Hey there and happy Tuesday. So I got a break again from the tractor and I wanted to make the most use of my time and show you a couple projects that are hopefully quick and easy using the Peaceful Garden Suite Collection. And if all goes well and I don't get pestered again, I might actually do like a double take or do a second video after I get this one posted and uploaded for you guys too. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'll use the same products. So that makes like my recovery time on my desk a little bit faster as I clean up some things and then get the next project going. So I love this. If you haven't caught on yet, I'm loving this mini catalog, and it's just like I can't pick a favorite. And if you know me at all, like you'd think this would hands down be my favorite because, oops, I'm trying to zoom in just a little bit there, because number one, there's a lot of blue in here. So from this mini catalog on page 32, we have these awesome samples here, and that just got me going right away. And then they continue on to the next page too. So we've got some browns in there, like a little bit of like soft mint colors and things like that too, but a lot of the blue just is what got me going right from the get-go. And let me show you, I like to start when I can with the papers. And so let's see here, I've got this for one of the designs here, and then the back side is a really pretty kind of washed, just basic design there. And then this is beautiful. I'm going to show you a card with just a little smattering of that we've used at a class. And this is kind of like a watercolor wash there. And then we've got these beautiful birds here, these doves there. And whoops, nope. And then the back side is so pretty too. Like, it's when I am planning for my events and using this, it is really hard for me to know, like, okay, what one to use, and like I just want to use them all. And even though this one seems plain, we're going to be using it in my next video that I do in that side, and that'll make more sense as you see things, because sometimes you might look at it and go, well, how are you going to use that? This one I'm saving. It just looks like beautiful hydrangeas, and I love the backside too for like little stars for a night sky scene. And so that one hasn't been used yet as a class because, like I said, I love it so much. And then this one also, I just have little pieces left, and then the back side is kind of a color wash there as well. So I think I covered them all. So hopefully that gives you some idea, because as we all know, they look pretty in the catalog, but then to see them in person is always like next level. Hello there, Kirsten. So yeah, and then let me just kind of go over the other pieces and parts. Let's see. Here we go. This is also in the suite, and for those that were at my stamp camp here in my home, there's Silver, Secret Sea, and let's see, what does it say for the third color? Oh, it just says blue, soft green, dark gray. But to me, it's Silver, Secret Sea, and maybe even like Blueberry Bushel, or just a nice royal blue. So that has been fun. It matches with this, and I will show you something with this. And then, like I said, the Aurora Lights paper, I did some fill in with some of this, and that's on an upcoming video as well. But that is part of the suite, which I like to let people know, because sometimes when I swap out like from this suite to the Aurora Lights, then they're like, where did that come from? The embossing folder I'm going to use today, this is great, Peaceful Garden 3D. It just is a nice little pop out to kind of emphasize this middle. And then the stamp set and dies I'll show here in a little bit. This ribbon is beautiful. So it's Misty Moonlight, which is a great blue color with some like little fringy silver edges. And then the embellishments are really fun too. Hues of blue flowers. And I think these could make fun looking snowflakes too. So if you're thinking like that type of Christmas thing and wanting to plan something for Christmas, it might look great for that. So it gives you, like it's called, hues of blue. So that's great. And I'm thinking I'm going to be showcasing about 3 cards, but I still want to make this as quick as possible. What I love about this whole suite, this is the bundle Peace on Earth. You can do lots of sympathy options, Christmas options, even just encouragement, big hugs for a good friend. So I think there's going to be a lot of use for that. This has already been a popular bundle, and I wanted to get a video out quick before it would happen to sell out or like be put on the not orderable for a few weeks or something, because we know how that goes too. And then the matching dies. There's 8 dies, and here we've got those star cutouts again, a little tiny little leaf for like the dove, like the olive twig, and then a larger one too. And then we've got little envelopes. So if you want your dove to be carrying a messenger letter, there's 2 envelopes, and they're on the same die. So that way you can cut out multiple that way. And then we've got 2 doves. The big dove there, I'm trying to think, here we go. I've cut them out of some cloud cover. So we've got these 2 doves in there. And then we've got 2 dies. Here we go. These 2 dies. So when we see this embossing folder, this die fits that perfectly, which is great, which I'll show you. And then this one is a little bit smaller version. So if you want to have some of that showing and then just have your sentiment on that, that works well for that. So I think we have kind of all those dies covered for our project too. So let's make a card. And I think I'm going to start with showing you this one, and this has been used at a class of mine. Hi there, Jerry. Thanks for joining in. And people loved it, and yet it used the Secret Sea colors, ink, cardstock, all of that, and the ribbon, and I love this. This is kind of just like a denim feel to it. I love the dark blue. It just looks very fabric-y in a fun way. But then I wanted to use this ribbon that I was raving about, right? So I'm like, well, let's just take this card as a sample and make this card exactly the same, or as the same as possible, but let's make it look like Misty Moonlight. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start with a card base in Misty Moonlight, landscape fold this way, and then I'm going to show you, I took the 2-tone cardstock, which we have in several colors, if not all of them by now. So this comes 12 by 12, 2-tone. So this is Misty Moonlight as well. And so you can see 2-tone means there are 2 tones of the Misty Moonlight here. All right, so we've got that. And what I did was cut pieces down 4 by 5 1/4 for our card front. And because this is a little bit thinner, and I also wanted to show how you can use kind of this as our distressing and crackly look, what I wanted to do is put 2 of them through at a time. So I want to line up the lighter color along the line at the top. I love that these embossing folders have that line, because I want to try and center this design on there as most, to get the whole frame on there, if that makes sense. So that line helps me. And then I wanted to have that design popped up on the darker side, which means the lighter is going to be facing me. And that makes sense too as I put it through. So I'm just doing 2 at a time here. Like I said, sometimes when it's thinner, I can do that better. And it also helps kind of give us a nice little crackle with the embossing folder, which you'll see here in a second. All right, so can you kind of see that some of that kind of got distressed as it went through? How fun, right? So we've got the darker side, like I said, and the lighter side of the 2-tone cardstock. And this is called Peaceful Greenery 3D Embossing Folder. And like I said, it's great. And I would definitely encourage not only this, but then the dies to be able to layer and pop that up. So this is ready to go on our Misty Moonlight layer here. Let me get my adhesive. There we go. I'll make sure I get this to the very edges because of that design going all the way out too. That way it sticks really well. Oh, I know what I should have done before I put on here, but it is not too late. So when you see that distressing look there and go, you know, I kind of like the little distressing, but I want to add a little bit more, you can get out some kind of sanding tool. Stampin' Up! Actually used to sell these sanding blocks. And so you can see the difference that makes just going over that a little bit. And if you have some just plain sandpaper, you can lightly go over it with that, because that's going to be, you know, a little bit rougher. So here's just what it looks like going through the pass, and then I added a little bit more there too. So I let people have their go at it at classes to be able to just do as little or as much as they want. Some didn't do any at all. They liked just a little bit of that kind of distress showing, but they didn't add any more, and others kind of went to town on that. So kind of fun to be able to do that. And then let's just put that ribbon on right away because it's so pretty, right? And it's called Misty Moonlight. Gotta get English. Silver edged ribbon. So yeah, if you're looking for just that, I always encourage this week because things coordinate. And this suite actually has everything available as of today. You know, things can change all the time. But this is the last day of the Stampin' Up! Year, so we never know if people that are demos are trying to reach certain goals, and sometimes things can sell out. But I don't know. Last I checked, all of this stuff was current and in stock, so that's exciting. I'm just going to trim that up there. And then next what I'm going to do is take the larger of those dies that coordinate with the bundle here. I have to they're so similar, I have to line them up to make sure that I have the one that is larger. And I'm going to take some of the pretty cardstock or paper, excuse me, the Peaceful Garden DSP Designer Series paper, and I'm just going to put this, I cut like a strip about 4 inches, or it is 4 inches, and then I can just cut multiples of this die across that way. Right. So we've got this like so pretty. Hello there, Pam, thanks for joining in. All right, so this now is ready to just fill in this spot here. It just kind of gives us this little well, and I'm kind of just moving around to make sure that it matches with the well throughout the whole design. All right, so I've got that, and then I'm going to open up my Misty Moonlight ink pad here, and the stamps I'm using today I'm going to make 2 cards. They all come from the same stamp set, the Peace on Earth. So I'm going to make a sympathy card first. And so what I did is just grabbed this. It's about 7/8 by 2.5 inches long on basic white. So this is with Deepest Sympathy. Going to ink that up off to the side on purpose. There with the Misty Moonlight. Now here is, if I wanted, I always kind of keep my like accessories that didn't make the cut close by, and so this is the next size of that die that is smaller. And the reason I didn't want to go with this is because it covers up so much of the pretty paper, and so I thought if I just kind of have a slice here to put some sentiment on, then I'm not covering up the pretty paper. But I kind of want to let you see how that does mat each other that way. And then I'm going to grab some dimensionals here. Okay. And then that one's ready to go. Because I'm making a couple cards, I did do some some pieces to save time for you guys. One of which is cutting out the dove. So now I'm just going to kind of eye that and kind of just center that like so and put that down. And then, like I said, one of the doves cuts like this, and then in comparison, I think the other one probably already flew away. So it's the one with the open wing, which I showed right in the beginning, so I shouldn't have to, but I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive down, kind of towards its head and beak area, and then I'm going to grab a dimensional here to pop that up. So this is going to sit right on top of the sentiment here and kind of hover, and then that's why we want that pop up, so that it's all the same height all the way across, like so. So now this, like I said, is the other version, Secret Sea Misty Moonlight. And with the Secret Sea, I actually did even like a third option. So Secret Sea, I use two tones. So this is the back side of the two-tone, and this is the front side. And using just different paper from that Peaceful Garden paper pack. And then I still had from my supply, it has recently retired, but the silver and white sheer trim, I had a little bit of that, and I thought that looked kind of nice. And the threads that I used, I got out both Cloud Cover because it coordinated, and the Secret Sea of our new faux linen ribbon to coordinate with our ink colors. So that is where that came from. And then on this, I didn't want to use our hues of blue on here because it just didn't pop enough. So I used the Iridescent Pearls Basic Jewels on the Secret Sea, and I love the soft subtleness that added. So I wanted to kind of show you that. And yeah, so that was the same for both of these backside, front side of the Secret Sea there. And then to finish this, I thought, yes, let's do something maybe a little bit different. No, this one I am going to use the hues of blue. I have, like I said, everything kind of laid out to show you different options, but then I'm going to make a second card. So here we've got the little floral image there, and then I'm just going to put a couple smaller white ones up here on the top, like so. So we've got the hues of blue like that. So like I said, it does kind of just, it's a subtle look there. You can see that it does kind of coordinate well, so that's why it makes perfect sense to use that. And then for the inside, since this is a sympathy card, we've got a nice big heartfelt prayers stamp, and I love that. So I'm going to ink that up with my Misty Moonlight here. Put that on the top so that you have room to write your sentiment there. And this has been a well-loved project at classes that I've done. So sometimes I like to have all different projects, but sometimes I look at my class list and say, you know, I'm one project short. I said I need to design, and I look at my class list and go, there's no repeats. They love this. Oh, here's my doves from before. So you can kind of see, or if you wanted to put the one with the two open wings or not, like how pretty that would be to have like two of them on there, maybe both of them white for a project like that. But size wise, they're very similar in size, just the open wing or not. But let me go on right directly to the next project. And so that is going to also open up lengthwise that way with the landscape. And then I don't think I have to show you once again doing the embossing and the sanding off of that. So I'm just going to go right into assembling. And this one is going to be a Christmas card. And like I said, how fun that when we buy bundles, they can be multi-purpose. And so that always, to me, adds value. If I'm going to have shelf space taken up, I want it to be good shelf space, right? All right, so I'm just going to add this onto there too, like so, and tie that. And a lot of people are like, how do you get your ribbons? How do you stay tight? Well, as you can see, it's just a knot, so I'm not doing a fancy bow or anything, but I keep my spool attached until it's time to trim that off. And that way I don't feel like I'm fighting my larger fingers to try and make it work with X amount of ribbon. I use all the ribbon basically that way too. All right, so, and then this is silver edge ribbon, Misty Moonlight silver edge ribbon, same as the last project. And then I did cut out an extra one of these too. And then at classes, of course, it's always fun to say or see people say, I want to use the back side. Totally fine. And so a lot of times it's fun to see how the card can look so completely different too with the back side being used. And for this, then it's looking like identical to the first card that I did, but now I want to switch out my sentiment. So I have some basic white strips here, about 7/8 inches again. And the reason why they're not the full inch, I just love that if I can squeeze it on there, I don't want to take away from the beauty of the paper. And so, that's part of it. And Pam says, you just like it because it's blue. Yes, 100%. That's what caught my eye. And I love fall. So like all the fall products just caught my eye. But then this one, I'm like, oh my goodness, if I could eat this for supper, I would, right? Okay, so now this one says, wishing you peace, joy, and love. I am also inking that up in that Misty Moonlight there, so you can see the theme, but I still want to make sure that people don't think I'm switching it out or doing anything different that way. I'm just gonna trim this down. It comes to about, so people know, I would say 1, 2, 3, like 3 1/3 inches about there. So, all right, so I see a little bit of area that just needs to dry a hair, so I'm going to get my excuse me, my next dove ready here, and now it should be ready to flip over. And because this one's bigger, longer, I had to be a little bit creative, and I just like took way too much time up trying to decide where I wanted to put the sentiment. I still wanted this to show. I knew I wanted to add a dove. I didn't want to compete with the dove and the bow and all this kind of stuff. And I just decided to scoot this over and just have it go past kind of that die label. And then we've got so much of this showing, which is my goal. And then there again, I'm just going to put a dimensional there and just a tad amount of adhesive there on the head. Actually, no, I'm going to tip it down. I just need to pull the backing off. There we go. So I'm going to kind of do that. And actually, I'm going to take a mini dimensional because I don't like that head kind of going down, and I don't think there's enough room for a regular dimensional. I love my mini dimensionals for doing exactly this. I don't know if you guys have done that where you're done with a project or just about, you think, and go, you know what, I need just a little bit more. Okay, so now to kind of bling this up a little bit, I brought out, instead of the hues of blue that go with the suite, I brought out my two-tone sparkle gems. Love these. And like I said in the past, these can take on purple if you're working with purple, or it can take on like your blue tone for a lot of the blue things. So I'm just going to use like one of the larger ones and put that there, and find a spot where it'll show or stick out. And I'm going to just put about 3 of those on for a little bit of sparkle. And then I want to add even more. So this is where we had fun with the Wink of Stella. And so I say to squeeze gently with the Wink of Stella, but then just give that a nice brush. And I know I'm putting this on, and watching the video, you're probably not going to pick up on this, but it's always fun for people that have not used Wink of Stella before, just to see the look of amazement on their face as they ooh and ah over using this. And I think too, even like people, seasoned stampers that have stamped for a long time, they look at this and go, I don't have to heat set that. There's no messy glitter. There's no glitter that's left behind. It just dries instantly without any extra, like I said, heat gun or tool or anything needed. So like I said, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but kind of fun. And because it says wishing you peace, joy, and love, we needed something for Christmas. And there again, from that exact same stamp set, we have the Peace on Earth. So I'm going to ink that up once again, Misty Moonlight. Here we've got that nice and big, especially when you are doing a lot of Christmas cards. You're probably not going to be writing like a whole storyline in there. A nice space to add your signature and well wishes for the Christmas season. And then we've got that. And I don't know, from my angle, I'm just catching this really fun shimmer shine from the Dove in a great way, where it just looks really, really cool. It almost looks like more of an embellishment that I bought pre shimmer shined. So that's kind of fun there. So we've got the wishing you peace, joy, peace, love, and joy. And if you joined in late, then this is a similar card, Misty Moonlight, like so. And then also a couple done exactly the same way in Secret Sea. This way too, with that two-tone cardstock. So what I'll try and do is post these now, separate pictures. So there will be picture 1, picture 2, and picture 3. And then I'll have a supply list of what it would take to make all of this, since it's very similar. So some of you like to click on the link that I provide. That link will have like all the embellishments, all the ribbon, things like that, and then all the colors. So those of you that like to click add to cart, you might want to take things out, and a lot of you are good at that anyway, because some of you say, oh, I already have like the Misty Moonlight ink pad or something like that too. But the shopping cart to me has been such a great tool that I hear from you, because it tells you the complete list, and then you can go, oh, I already have that. But it's a way, just like going to the grocery store, where you don't want to miss, like there could be the obvious things, but you just don't want to miss some that might be obvious. Because I know somebody wanted all the supplies to make a similar card, and we thought we had it ordered. We had the ribbon, we had the bundled, we had everything, and then I went, oh my goodness, you still need the cardstock and the ink, you know. So it was kind of that obvious. So having those shopping lists, I hope, are a help. It does take me a while to put those together, but I hope that they do help you with just kind of narrowing down your decisions and such. So yeah, so harvest is going well here. A lot of you have said, hey, what's the update? How are things coming? And we finished beans already yesterday, so that was always a nice relief to get through all of that. And now it's kind of the transitioning over, and I might be called out tonight to start on corn, and it's just kind of the slow start, we call it, or the dabbling or whatever, just to make sure that the equipment is working well, and then after that we'll maybe hit it hard. So that's why I'm actually hoping I can do a double video day for you guys today before, because sometimes once we get going, like I won't be back here for maybe a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks or something. So we'll see. So anytime I can get you guys some inspiration, that's my goal. And hopefully you guys appreciate that too, because I appreciate you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.